All right, everybody, welcome back. Good late afternoon or early evening for some of you. And we've got a few more Edge guys to get through today, and then we'll be coming back tomorrow to wrap up the day three guys. We are now firmly into the day three territory, although that doesn't mean these guys aren't going to be good. That doesn't mean these guys aren't desirable. You just have to find the right one. So, we're going to start off with Cedric Johnson of Ole Miss. This is an interesting one. He had a very splashy combine and got some positive attention for himself. He's only 21 too, by the way. When you're only 21, that means there's a lot of growth that you can put together. You can get better very easily. So keep that in mind as we go forward here. 6'3", 260 pounds, so he's a little bit bigger than the average edge, especially a 3-4 edge. Long arms, 33.5 inches, 9 and 7/8 hands. The testing was nice, especially for a guy who's 260. 4'6", 40, 161, 10-yard split. 38-inch vert, 10-foot 2-inch broad, 25 bench press reps. That's good for a 260-pound edge. So this guy might bring some interesting things to the table here. PFF is way off the mark here. They have him going undrafted, but ESPN has him in the 4th, and CBS has him in the late 7th. So a couple big boards aren't quite picking this up yet. The database has him in about the 5th round. I think this combine's probably pushed him above that. Not super productive in college. Last year was his best year with 5.5 sacks, 6.5 tackles for loss, 40 tackles. A decent PFF grade. Year before he was okay as well. So I know the production never really blew up, but he's still 21 years old. It probably would have blown up if he had stayed in college for another year. So hard for me to really get too worked up about that. He's a great athlete given how big he is. His leg drive is nice. His leg drive is something that he can use to push people around a little bit. It's something that he can use to hold his ground. He can legitimately drive guys out of the play. He's got some nice moves that he can whip out to beat offensive linemen. It's not a big bag of tricks yet, but he does actually have some legitimate pass rush moves. For the Ole Miss defense, he was another guy who lined up all over the place. He would line up on the edge. He would line up inside. He would line up all over. So you're getting somebody who's done multiple things in college and might be able to continue to do them at the NFL level, at least some of them you would expect. And his first step is lightning quick. I know the 10-yard split wasn't amazing necessarily, the 10-yard split that usually measures first step stuff, but it was good for his size, especially. It's really good. And his first step on tape looks really nice. Now, he is going to have to add some more stuff to his pass rush bag of tricks. He's going to have to pick up more moves to become a truly well-rounded and truly versatile pass rusher. I think he's a little bit of a bull in a china shop. That's the way some people have put it, and I see what they mean. He's a little bit out of control. He's a little bit reckless. He's got a lot of innate talent in him, but sometimes it seems like it's just a little all over the place. And sometimes he can run himself out of the play because he's so aggressive. He'll get too far upfield in his pass rush and then be completely uninvolved in the play. So he's got to kind of work on his discipline, got to kind of work on his ability to settle down and settle in. And he's got to work a little bit more on his anchor. I think it's good, but at the NFL level, I do think his anchor to hold his ground is going to need some degree of work. So I think he can get there, no problem, but it needs improvement if he's going to get to where we want him to get to if he's a Seahawk. So I suspect Cedric Johnson will be a 5-tech in the NFL, but unlike some of these other guys, I could also see it working at edge because he's got the talent for it, right? There's a very interesting skill set here. I'm really intrigued by these physical abilities. I think he'll be good in this league in some capacity. And unlike a guy like Brandon Dorlus, who I just think is too big to play on the edge, I think this guy might be able to hack it. I think this guy might be able to be a good edge player in the NFL and also be somebody who can play the 5-tech role. So I can't quite pull the trigger until day 3 because he does need a lot of work, but I like this guy more than the most. I would go 4th round on him. I would say 4th round would be okay. So I'm a little higher on him than the average, and I feel like people are going to catch up to that as time goes by and they look at those testing numbers relative to his size. All right, Nelson Caesar is our next guy here, a Houston Cougar, 23 years old, 6'3", 254 pounds, 33 and 5/8 arms, 10 and a quarter hands, so pretty decent measurables. Combine, not so great. Didn't jump very high, 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle, just didn't really represent himself all that well in that regard. The big boards mostly put him somewhere around the 4th or 5th. The Draft Network actually has him in the 3rd. Aggregate has him in the 5th. Seems reasonable to me. Good production last year for Houston. 43 tackles, 13.5 for loss, 9.5 sacks, and a good PFF grade. The year before he was efficient as well. He just wasn't nearly as explosive. So there is some track record of good success here. One thing that's interesting about his time at Houston, and I don't know if this is going to parlay itself well out in the NFL, but he did play some reps at inside linebacker. So I do wonder if he'll be able to offer any of that when he gets to the NFL level. I wouldn't necessarily count on it, but Houston did slide him inside on some downs and have him play that stack linebacker role. And it's just a little added bonus if you end up with this guy. He's got a great get off at the snap. He gets off the ball at the snap very quickly. His first step is nice. It's kind of weird that he didn't run a 40 at the combine because I think that's an area that he might have looked fairly good in. He wins with power on his bull rush. He's got a nice bull rush, knows how to use that bull rush. He always gives maximum effort on the field. There's no doubting his consistent effort and consistent drive to want to be the best that he can be at all times. He doesn't have enough pass rush moves yet. He needs to develop some legitimate moves, needs to develop some ability to really have like a swim, a chop, some of the inside cuts that you can make. He's got some work to do there. His ability to diagnose run blocking and run plays is not there. His football IQ and his ability to really figure out what's going on is not ideal. And his testing didn't live up to expectations. You take a look at his tape, he looks like a really good athlete, but then he tests like this and you're like, wait a minute, did he only look like a good athlete because he was playing for Houston? Like, what's going on here? So that has to draw things into question. I'm not really sure what to think at this point because of the testing, but I am intrigued by his flexibility, and if he can develop some pass rush moves, I think he's got something, but that's going to be a process. That's going to take a while for him to do. It's not just going to happen because he wills it to happen, so I'm not really jumping on this one until about round number 5. Nelson Caesar, I mean, he's I think he will get better, but it's going to take some time, and that's biting into your years of your rookie contract, rookie deal. All right, so one more guy for this video, one more guy for today, and then tomorrow we'll be moving on to a different crop. Brennan Jackson of the Washington State Cougars. Familiar to some of my viewers, no doubt. 6'4", so he's tall, 264, so he's a little bit bigger than most of the guys we look at here. 32 3/4 arms, 9 3/4 hands. So he's got the pretty decent measurables overall. Testing was okay. Good 40, decent 10-yard split. Jumps were about average. Bench press was not very good, but overall it was okay. His big board positions, we got a 4th rounder, we got a 5th rounder, we got a 6th rounder. The aggregate has him right around the 5th, maybe early 6th. So, not too bad. Good production the last 2 years, especially with the TFLs. A lot of plays in the backfield, almost 100 tackles, 24.5 tackles for loss, and 14.5 sacks, 6 passes defense. That's pretty dang good. So I think that Brennan Jackson is a guy who might be able to play some edge and some interior, kind of like Draymond Jones. He's going to be able to do stuff on both ends, and that's going to help him down the line as he probably finds his way as a journeyman in the league because he's not an elite player. Any team is going to be able to look at him and go, I could use that potentially. He's an excellent all-around run defender. That's his kind of standout skill. He's really good defending against the run. He's really good being able to hold up in hat-on-hat situations. And he's also good shooting gaps. He's really good being able to shoot gaps and make plays in the backfield. A lot of his plays in the backfield come from gap shooting. And he's also somebody who can chase down plays that go to the opposite field. His chase down abilities are notable when the play goes away from him. So he's bringing you a very well-rounded package of run-stuffing skills. He's giving maximum effort at all times. He's going to maximize what he can get out of himself. And he's a smart player diagnosing plays. So some really good things with Brennan Jackson. I do wonder what he's actually going to be able to do really well at the NFL level at. Like, is he a tweener in the NFL? Is he just going to be like a guy who hangs out in the middle? Is he going to be a guy who's a little too slow to be an edge, but also a little too small and weak to be an interior defensive lineman? It's possible. He doesn't really offer that much as a pass rusher yet. He's got a little bit of a bull rush. He doesn't really have any moves yet. So he's going to have to develop a bag of pass rush tricks if he wants to make it. And he doesn't really have bend. He doesn't have that pass rusher bend. So his ability to affect the play on passing downs is just going to be limited. And his testing, like I said, makes you wonder, what kind of athlete are we really dealing with here? So I don't think I can put him in day 2, because at the end of the day, this league is all about the pass. Your ability to stop the pass, affect passing plays, is where this league ultimately gets made or broken. And he's just a work in progress there. So I think Jackson will be a good player. I think he'll be good in the NFL. Can't quite do day 2, but I can do 4th round. I think he's a 4th round guy because he's such a well-rounded player against the run. And there is value there, don't get me wrong. It's just, in this league, not being able to rush the passer is a problem. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow with more edge rusher stuff. We got a bevy, a collection of late round guys to look at, and then we'll be done with the positions. So see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think of this crop down below, and I'll see you guys soon.